After 8 harrowing years, Daniel Morcombe's parents are coming to terms with the news that remains discovered in bushland belong to their son. Yesterday, police revealed that 3 bones found matched the teenager's DNA. The awful confirmation comes just 2 weeks after a 41-year-old man was arrested and charged with Daniel Morcombe's abduction and murder. Earlier today, I spoke to Daniel's father, Bruce Morcombe, on the Sunshine Coast. Bruce Morcombe, welcome to 7:30.
Thanks very much. Happy to be here.
When were you told the remains had been identified as Daniel's?
That was approximately 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. We received a call on our home phone from the Commissioner, and he gave Denise the bad news, and Denise came and told me, and it was all a call we had expected for a long time, but it still comes as just an enormous shock.
You've long prepared yourself for the possibility that you'd find a body and not your child, but that can't make this any easier.
No, sometimes you wrestle with, over that almost 8-year period, what possibly could be the worst scenario that we're dealing with. And truly, it might sound bizarre, but in some circumstances, perhaps death is easier to cope with for a parent than to think that your child has been abused and locked up and interfered with for perhaps 8 years. So as grave as that sounds, there is something worse than death, and that's what our mind was playing with over that whole journey. And it is only relief is probably the description we could use to find Daniel's remains.
It's impossible to imagine how you bore the last 8 years. What's it done to your family?
Well, probably in some strange way it's brought us all very close together. We know that often in a major event, that's a traumatic event within a family unit, that the family fractures, and we're never going to let that happen. We chatted constantly, on a very regular basis, and tried to appreciate each other's position and give each other a little bit of space in some times, and a hug in other times. So we were always there for each other, and that still remains very, very strong today, and will continue into the future.
You now have to live through a murder trial. Will you go to the trial?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've no doubt in the world that all 4 of us will attend each and every day of the trial. It's part of our life. It's not going to be pleasant by any stretch of the imagination, but we owe it to Daniel, and we need to find the truth for our own well-being. Yeah.
Now, this is any parent's worst nightmare. Do you find that some parents find it so difficult that they don't want to even hear it?
Yeah, look, I, particularly in the last 2 weeks, wonder about the impact on children and also parents, with the gravity coming to the forefront, page after page, news report after news report, of just what happened to Daniel, and skeletal remains and the stories that go on and on about pedophiles. It's you wonder whether it's having a negative impact on the children, and that's certainly something I try and monitor as best I can. And we always try and paint a positive picture on things, and that is that there are more good people than bad. We just need to appreciate that bad people do exist, so you can't trust everyone, but largely people are good, and you need to appreciate that and not think that life is such a dark place.
And yet you believe that Daniel's story is one that parents do need to know, and that they need to talk to their children about it.
Yeah, look, Daniel wasn't adventurous. He would not have got into, he wasn't a risk taker. He wouldn't have got into somebody's car at all. And, we just appreciate that. That child standing on the side of the road on the 7th of December 2003 happened to be Daniel Morcombe, our son. But truly, it could have been anybody. It was a sunny Sunday afternoon. Daniel was just going to catch a bus to go to the shops to buy some Christmas presents. All very innocent activities that probably tens of thousands of similar-aged children do, on a regular basis. And, he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, we've just stood up and said, we're not going to cop this. We're going to make a difference and make sure that whatever we can do to highlight to other parents that Daniel's fate is not the right way to go, but we're not going to be smashed around by it. We're going to stand up and make sure that we can do our best to highlight to other parents that they need to educate their kids that those children need to be observant and trust their instincts, and if danger does present itself, to remove themselves to somewhere that they feel safe.
There's been a small army of supporters. What would you say to them?
Oh, look, I want to give each of them a big hug and a handshake and a thank you. And we would never have got to the position we are today without the dedication of thousands and thousands of people, but to the hundreds and hundreds of police officers that have been specific and hands-on in this case, as well as the SES volunteers. You know, they've been tremendous troopers and never given up. And here we are 7 years and 9 months later. You know, we appear to be entering the very last phase of this investigation.
Bruce Morcombe, our admiration, our thoughts and our prayers are with you and your family. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you. Cheers.